Welcome, my name is Tolu. I'm a Christian dating coach. So I'm going to be talking to you today about why you can date in the middle of a heartbreak. So what I specialize in is helping women of faith to date men they can marry. Okay, so the reason I'm talking about this particular topic is I want you to understand whether you're coming out of a relationship, you're stuck in a situationship, you are in a position where you feel like you need time to heal before you date again. That's not necessary. So I'm going to be addressing that today. If you've gone through any form of heartbreak, you know that the whole process can be cumbersome. It can be difficult for you to get over. It can really hinder the way that you think about relationships and the way you consider to look at commitment. So what I want to break down for you guys is exactly why it's important to be dating in the middle of heartbreak. Because here's the thing. It's like saying you're not going to go to your destination because you had some sort of an accident. That doesn't change the fact that you still need to get to your destination, depending on the severity of the accident, depending on the timing, depending on the location. It doesn't change the fact that you still need to make that journey, okay? It may change the route that you take, it may change the process, but it doesn't change the fact that that journey is still relevant. It's the same thing with dating. Now, I want you to understand that heartbreak is really dependent on how you look at the particular situation you're talking about. So when you're in the process of dating, it's a normal part of the process to come across situations that do not go according to plan. I'm sure you've been in relationships that you thought will end in a healthy way and they were toxic. You've been in relationships that you thought will lead to commitment and it just led to confusion. You've been in relationships with men that you thought were serious and it turned out that they were emotionally unavailable and toxic. Just drop a yes in the comments if that's the case, because that's the nature of the dating process. And it's important for you to understand this because heartbreak is a part of that nature. So if you start saying that because you've experienced heartbreak, you are no longer available to date, you're no longer available to meet men, all that's going to happen is you're removing yourself from the opportunity of making the right connection for you. You are literally removing yourself from that journey. It's like you're saying, I no longer feel like getting to my destination. I no longer feel like meeting a man that is the right fit for me. I'm no longer in a position to be able to connect with men in a healthy way. That is actually what you're saying. How many of you have been in situations where you say, oh, I'm taking a break from dating because of heartbreak. Then you enter the dating scene and meet the exact same kind of person, the exact same kind of situation before. It doesn't matter if you took months or years off. The next person you date is exactly the same as your ex. It's exactly the same as the last man that made you take that break in the first place. Because taking a break is not the solution. That's to show you that taking a break doesn't solve the fact that you want to start connecting with men correctly. Heartbreak is just supposed to be a part of how you move through the dating process. And I'm going to tell you what it's meant to do for you. It's meant to help you assess your dating process, okay? So it's kind of like using the example I gave of an accident. You know, usually when there's an accident, you have people that come to investigate the scene, look at what went wrong, look at what caused the accident, how it happened, and so on and so forth. What you're meant to be doing with heartbreak is assessing what went wrong. Okay, what went wrong, how it happened, why it happened, at what point it happened. And that's why with our clients in the Wife in Waiting program, we provide a dating template that deals specifically with breakups because we don't want you lagging there. You know, literally had a client that was going through heartbreak. Now she says she's ready to date again. All she had to do was use our template to be able to assess exactly what went wrong, how it went wrong, so that she understands what she's meant to take from that situation. But a lot of you aren't taking lessons. You're just staying still. You're standing still as a result, and it's causing you to repeat the same mistakes. It's causing you to feel stuck. It's causing you to feel confused because you're approaching it the wrong way. What you're meant to be doing when you're going through heartbreak is just assess what went wrong, why did it happen, and how did it happen. So you know exactly what purpose it was meant to serve, and you know exactly what you're meant to be taking moving forward. Secondly, you're just meant to acknowledge what went wrong, okay? Maybe you know that, okay, fine, I rushed too quickly into that relationship. You acknowledge that, indeed, yes, I rushed too quickly into it. I rushed too quickly into it because I thought he was the right person. I thought he was the right person because he showed me that he was caring. I felt comfortable with him. I'm literally just giving you an example of what it looks like to acknowledge so that you can use that information moving forward to inform the kind of connections you make with men and to inform the way you go about interacting with men. taking a break is not the solution. It doesn't solve anything. Sitting still and waiting for the right man to literally drop from the sky is never going to happen. You're just going to find yourself in the exact same situation with someone different, because you're not using the lessons to your benefit. If anything, you're not even aware that there are lessons. You're just spending time in the same position, mending something that was never even meant for you in the first place. So it's important that you don't take a break. Taking a break isn't the solution. You assess, you review, you audit. And this is something that we do with our clients in Wife in Waiting to make sure that they are dating in alignment with the marriage they're meant to serve, they're meant to enter, because dating is meant to serve you. Okay, it's meant to serve you. It is not there for fun. As a woman of faith, as a Christian woman, dating is meant to serve you. It serves a purpose. The purpose is marriage. So if this person isn't the one, that lesson is meant to serve you to know the one for your marriage. It's not meant to make you say, I'm no longer dating, I'm no longer meeting men, I'm no longer entering any relationships. That is the wrongest thing to do when you are going through heartbreak. It is not going to solve anything. It's like saying because you injured your leg, you're never going to walk again. It doesn't make sense. Of course, you're going to go to the hospital, maybe do a couple of tests to see what went wrong. Maybe they'll give you a couple of medication to deal with the pain. That's how they assess and acknowledge what went wrong so that you can move forward. It's the same thing you're meant to be doing when you go through heartbreak. You're meant to be assessing what went wrong so that you can move forward with that information after acknowledging it. And then how do you move forward? You move forward by using that knowledge in the dating process. You now know what to look out for. Instead of saying, I'm no longer dating anybody that bears the same name as my ex, or I'm no longer dating anyone that wants to commit after two weeks of talking because that's what happened the last time. No, that's not how you assess. That isn't a factor in helping you to understand the substance of what went wrong in that situation. What you want to look at instead is what exactly, at what point did things start going wrong, and how did that influence the way you connected with this person. That is the information that you use moving forward to make sure that you are advancing into you're advancing into a relationship that is healthy the next time you enter one. So it's important that you assess, you acknowledge, and then finally you advance into the dating scene with that information. You use those lessons to connect with men, to have contact, to have conversations with men. You don't remove yourself from the dating process because you had a bad experience. That is not going to solve anything. And the reason I'm hammering on this is because I talk to a lot of you and I'm hearing, oh, I'm taking a break. What is that going to solve? It's like saying because you failed an exam, you're never going to write the exam again. So how are you going to get licensed in that field? How are you going to how are you going to fulfill your ambition of being a professional in that field? You're going to have to sit the exam again. The only thing is you're going to review what went wrong, you're going to acknowledge where you need some help, and you're going to work on it moving forward. It's the same thing with dating. Taking a break because you are heartbroken is not going to solve anything. That's not how you approach it. Instead, you look at what went wrong, you use that information to move forward to make sure that you are connecting and you're having conversations with the right men, with the right people. And a lot of women don't understand dating is a process, okay? Just because you start talking to a different man doesn't mean that he owes you anything, because I've seen situations where you start rebounding. And what do I mean by rebounding? A rebound is basically when you're dating someone to get over someone else. That isn't the right way to approach that situation. So I'm not saying go out and look for a rebound. You need to make sure that when you are going through a heartbreak, you assess what went wrong, you acknowledge, and you move forward. And then you start from having conversations and connect with men and use the information from your last relationship or last situation, whatever it was, to inform the way you are intimate with this person moving forward. That's all it's meant to do. Okay, you're not rebounding. Rebounding is basically using someone else. It's kind of like delaying the healing process. Using somebody else to get over someone, like a distraction. It doesn't serve the purpose of dating. It hinders your ability to be able to move forward with the right person if you're rebounding. So I'm just looking at my notes, guys, because I want to make sure that I address all the points as always when I'm talking to you about relationships. So when you're dating, you don't want to be rebounding. Rebounding is not a relationship. A rebound is just an excuse. It's a distraction. It's a delay tactic. You want to make sure you're in a position to have a healthy relationship. So when I say you can date in the middle of heartbreak, I'm not saying you should enter a relationship immediately. I'm not saying that you should just jump into any commitment that any man throws at you. I'm saying that you can start having conversations with men. You can start having connections with men. You can go on dates. You can, you can get to know one another. There is no rush. Dating is meant to move at your own pace. And taking a break is not a pace at all. It is a standstill. Dating is meant to move at your own pace. That means that there should be progress. It shouldn't be a process whereby you feel stuck, you feel inhibited, you feel, you're feeling like it's the end of the world. No. You use that information from the last situation, from the last relationship to move forward. You use it to connect with men. Dating means you're talking to men again. Okay, let me put it that way. It means you're talking to men again. It means that you're having conversations again. It means you're making connections again. A lot of you aren't doing that. You're just recycling the same mistakes. You're recycling and recycling and recycling the same mistakes again and again and again. And let me know in the comments, just say me, if you found yourself dating the same person in a different body. The same guy that you left two years ago is the same person that you're dealing with now. Just a different name, different age, different background, but literally the same personality. Because you're recycling relationship mistakes. You're just going around the same mountain again and again and again. Whether you took a break or you didn't take a break, it's just the same problem. Because you haven't dealt with the core of the issue. That's why this is happening. You're not dating. You're just repeating the same mistakes with different men. Okay, and that's why with our clients, we start with working on your dating habits. That's the first point of contact, because your habits are going to determine the kind of men that you come into contact with. Your habits are going to influence the kind of relationships you can have with men. Your habits are going to have a huge impact on how you're able to develop healthy relationships moving forward. So we work from your dating habits to make sure that you are curating the right roster of men. A lot of you, your roster looks like a hot mess, like it's just a mess. Okay, the people that are in your roster, when I say your roster, the people that are currently in, what I say around you, they all have different problems when it comes to commitment. They all have different problems when it comes to simple conversations. They all have different problems when it comes to connection. So they are all emotionally unavailable. So it doesn't matter if you're talking to 5 men. It doesn't matter if you're talking to 2. They literally all have the same problem, because your roster of men is a mess. And it's a reflection of the fact that you're not dating in a healthy way. So of course you're not going to get a healthy result. Of course you're not going to. How are you going to get a healthy result when you're talking to a toxic mix of men? Of course you're not going to get anything healthy from that situation. It's like saying you want to hire a team and you keep choosing the least qualified people for the job to make up that team. Of course you're going to have a very terrible project outcome, because those people are not qualified for that level of commitment. Because currently your roster of men is very faulty. I'm not even saying it's faulty. I'm saying it's very faulty. Like it's a mess. Okay, whether you're talking to 1 man or you're talking to 3, you have the same problem in different places, because your roster is a mess. So you're the one curating that roster. That means you're the one that needs to change the way you are connecting with these men and you are conversing with men. If an organization is made up of people that are not qualified for the role, who do you blame? You blame the hiring manager, the person that hired them, the person that qualified them, the person that gave them that job, because they were the ones responsible for making sure that the right person was put in that role, but they didn't do that. So if you keep having the same issues with different men, then you're the one that is not going about the dating the vetting and qualification process the right way. Okay, and taking a break, you can't say, if you're in that position and imagine it's a business or a project, you can't say, oh, I'm taking a break from this project. You have to go through with the project. There are a couple of other things you can do, but you can't say, oh, I'm taking a break from this project. I'm not doing this project anymore. When you've already made a commitment, you've signed some documents to carry out that project, you can't just say, I'm out. All you can do at that point is change the teammates that you have. If you have that capacity, if you're in that position, like say you're the one hiring, all you can do is change the people that are on ground. And that's what you need to be doing in the middle of a heartbreak. That's why it's important to date in the middle of a heartbreak, so that you are in a position to change your experience. Right now, the reason you're having horrible experiences dating is because your current roster of men is faulty. When I say roster, I mean men that you're talking to either at the same time or you're talking to one after the other, whether simultaneously or one after the other, it doesn't matter. Point is, you are not connecting with men in a way that inspires commitment. You're not talking to men that desire to be connected with you in a positive, healthy way. You're not talking to men that desire to give you that level of intimacy that you want from a potential partner. And here's the interesting thing. When you keep doing that, you'll keep finding yourself heartbroken again and again and again. It's just a matter of when and how. It will happen. It's just a matter of when and how. Because guess what? You are repeating the same cycle and expecting a different result, and that's just not possible. It's like if you keep doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome, it doesn't, nothing in life works that way. You have to make a change. So our curriculum, our dating curriculum in the Wife in Waiting program, and guys, if you're interested in applying for Wife in Waiting, make sure you send me a DM saying wife, or you'll see a pinned link. You can click to apply there. You can click on my bio to apply, or you can send me a DM saying wife. Either way, we'll be able to go through your application to make sure that you're in the best position to move forward to dating men that you can actually marry. Because right now, the reason that you are going through heartbreak and you're thinking you need to take a break is because dating is exhausting for you. And that's just because you're not dating in a way that is in alignment with the marriage you desire. You want a healthy marriage, you want a stable marriage, you want a marriage that's full of commitment, but your dating process is not reflecting that. And I want you to get that. It's like saying you're trying to get to, I don't know, you're trying to get to Canada, but you are taking a bus from Lagos. It's not possible. Okay, you need to get on the flight. At the very least, you need to get on the plane heading in that direction. That's how a lot of you are dating. The destination that you desire, you want a healthy marriage, you want healthy commitment, you want a healthy relationship with your husband, but you're dating in a way that doesn't lead to that outcome. You're dating in a way, and how do you know this? Because you keep dating toxic men, you keep dating men that are not ready for commitment, you keep dating men that don't want to be in an intimate relationship with you, but want all the benefits of intimacy, whether financially exploiting you, emotionally abusing you, or just physically not being available to you. Those are the kind of men in your roster presently. None of them are qualified to give you that destination of a happy, healthy home. None of them are qualified. And somehow you think the solution is to take a break. It doesn't make sense. You think the solution to that problem is to just opt out of it for a while. That's not going to change anything. You're just going to come back and meet the same problem. It's like if a room is smelling and you think your solution is to leave the room. How is that going to make the stench go away? How is that going to suddenly make the room smell better? How is that going to suddenly make the room smell pleasing and appealing and inviting? It's not going to do any of that. If anything, you just come back and meet the stench twice as worse, depending on how long you left the room for. You have to look for it. You have to deal with it. It's the same thing with dating. Taking a break doesn't solve anything. It doesn't change the outcome. That's why if you like, say, oh, I'm not dating men for, I don't know, a year. I'm taking a break for 6 months. I'm currently not available for a relationship. You will come back and meet the same problem. It's not going to change anything for you. Right? And that's why you've seen that. You've distracted yourself from it, but you haven't faced it. So how do you expect to attract a man that has a different set of qualities to offer you? You're not available for that. That's why I say emotional unavailability in women looks different than in men. In women, it looks like avoidance, looks like excuse. It looks like, when I say avoidance, you're making an excuse for the situation. Oh, I'm not going to go out with this person because I just got through a bad breakup. Meanwhile, we both know that's not the reason why. The reason is because you're afraid. Avoidance, that's emotional unavailability. Another one is excuse. Oh, it's all his fault. He doesn't do A, B, and C. Meanwhile, you are not available to connect with that person on that level that you desire them to show you commitment. And that's why in our Wife in Waiting coaching calls, we face the issue. Literally all our clients. On our last coaching call, we dealt with different issues. How to have conversations with men, how to make men understand exactly how you desire to be pursued. A lot of you don't understand that. You need to let a man know how you desire to be pursued. It's like if they hire you for a job and they never tell you how you're supposed to carry out that work. So, of course, you're going to make mistakes. Of course, you're not going to show up in the way they expect. They never told you what they expect from you in that role. Sure, they gave you a job description, but they did not give you how to implement that job description in day-to-day activities, how to show up in a way that shows them that you are a team player. They didn't give you that information, so of course you're going to make mistakes. Of course it's going to be a mess. But that's how a lot of you are dating. You somehow expect these men to know what you want, know what you desire. And in our coaching calls, we address that with a couple of clients. And guess what? Between a week of making sure that this particular client was clear on letting that man know what she wanted, he was more responsive. He was more available for conversation. He was more available to connect. All she had to do was express her desire, and we showed her how to do that using our framework. Another client was unclear after being in a cycle of talking to a particular gentleman for months where to place him. And once we addressed that in the coaching call, within 48 hours, she had her answer. She didn't need to give him any more time. She didn't need to think about it again and again and again. She just needed to apply her strategy, take a decision, and make it clear, and she got her result. That's all. But a lot of you are making excuses, and I'm giving you these examples so you know what excuse looks like. So you know what emotional unavailability in women looks like. You are making excuses instead of explaining and being available to communicate with that man in a way that lets him know what you desire. Like I said, emotional unavailability in women looks like avoidance, it looks like excuse. Another way it looks like is delay. Delay is a very what's I called recurring way you can tell that you're emotionally unavailable as a woman. You're delaying making a decision about that guy. You're delaying making a decision about going back into the dating scene. You're delaying making a decision about how exactly you intend the relationship to proceed. There's delay. That's how emotional unavailability looks like in women. And somehow you want to attract a man that's emotionally available. How? How are you going to do that? When you're avoiding, you're excusing, and you're delaying. How are you available for that to happen? You're not. It's like trying to have a say in the way they paint a room, but you never enter the room. Or trying to have a say in the way they're going to hire somebody for a role, but you're not part of the hiring board or hiring committee. It's not possible. But that's how a lot of you are dating. That's how a lot of you are showing up in the dating scene. That's how a lot of you are making connections with men. That's why you talk to him today and next tomorrow you're not hearing from him again. Because there's a way in which you're connecting and you're communicating that isn't translating in the dating process. There's a way in which you're connecting and communicating with men that isn't inspiring commitment. Okay? So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. If you're interested in understanding the right way to date and you're ready to take it seriously and you're ready to apply strategy so that you can start seeing practical results, just send me a DM saying wife, and I'll be available to. My bot is very eager. She will send you all the information that you need to get started, and I'll also engage you in conversation so you know your next steps. Okay? And then you can also click the link in my bio as well if you want to apply for our program. So let me know if you have any questions. When I say rotational dating simply means just talking to more than one man at a time, going on dates with more than one man at a time before commitment. That's all it is. It's really that simple. Dating it's so simple. The problem is you're complicating it. You're complicating the process of dating. Meanwhile, it's very simple. It's very straightforward. Okay? So guys, that's pretty much it. So basically, taking a break is not going to solve anything. You should be dating in the middle of a heartbreak. That is how you move forward. You're not supposed to be, stopping in the middle of the road to your destination and saying, I no longer feel like going, just because I had a couple of bumps on the road. That doesn't make sense. Oh, I no longer feel like getting to my destination just because, my car I hit a couple of speed bumps. So you just keep going. Now you know where to look out for speed bumps. Now you know what to look out for. That's the whole point of that experience. That's all you need to do. You don't need to say, I'm no longer going on this journey. I'm not doing this again. But that's how a lot of you are dating, right? You're complicating the very simple process. And that's why with our curriculum, once you join Wife in Waiting, we literally just lay it out for you. Lay out exactly what you're meant to be doing at each stage of the dating process, so you know exactly what to look out for, exactly what you should be doing, exactly how to connect with men in a healthy way, how to be able to vet and qualify correctly. And I support you in coaching to make sure that you understand what you're meant to be doing, to make sure that you're talking to men you can marry. because right now you're just not making that happen. Another thing that I see as a delay tactic is, I'm praying and fasting. You can do that and date at the same time. They're not mutually exclusive. You're supposed to be prayerful and practical. Okay? Healing is a continuous journey. Healing does not mean that you cannot date. Healing does not mean you cannot talk to men. Healing does not mean that you cannot go on a date. It's just interesting how there's this assumption that if you have a broken heart or you've gone through a heartbreak, that means that somehow you are not available for any sort of connection. That doesn't translate. It doesn't make sense. You may not be available for a relationship, but does that mean you're not available to have conversations with men? Does that mean you're not available to be able to go on dates? Does that mean you're not available to get to know someone? Why should it mean that? It shouldn't. You're the one eliminating your own process of meeting your husband. You're literally the one getting in your own way. There are couples that meet their spouses in the middle of heartbreak. Literally 2-3 days after they meet their spouses. You think that the man just appeared and said, let's get married. No, there's a starting point. You have a conversation. You find out that you have certain connection points. You help each other. You go on dates and then you commit. But it's just interesting how there's this assumption that because you're healing, the next person that comes up, that you are not available to just have simple conversations with men. You're not available to just go on a date. Why? It doesn't translate. You may not be available for a relationship because it's like if you just injured your leg, of course they're not going to tell you to start running the next day, but they won't say stop walking. They won't say stop going to the grocery store. They won't say, don't move. So why would you assume that because, you're going through heartbreak, that means that you should stop walking, so to speak? Why? So that's what I mean by, there are very unhealthy dating habits out there. Very unhealthy. It's just a toxic assumption to look at it from that standpoint. And it doesn't matter how many years you were with that person. Please do not use that as an excuse. Don't say, because I dated this person for 5 years, I was in this situation for 6 years or whatever, or 6 months. So what? You have to learn to date that. No, I don't think it depends on the impact. And thank you for your question. It doesn't depend on the impact, and I'll tell you why. So the question I'm saying here is, healing depends on impact. It does not, right? Because here's the thing. You can't take one step at a time. One step at a time for you may mean just going out. One step at a time for you may mean just being available to meet people. One step at a time for you may mean being available to have conversations. It doesn't have to mean commitment. It doesn't have to mean commitment. Now, it's interesting because a lot of people assume that when people say date in the middle of heartbreak, they assume that means that you should be immediately available to be committed. Of course not. Why would you be available for that? You may not be in a space to provide that kind of partnership, but you're in a space where you can at least provide some sort of conversation. You're in a space where you can at least provide some sort of connection. So no, it doesn't depend on the impact. This is what I mean by let's stop looking for excuses. There's no need. And this is what we address in the Wife in Waiting program head on. Okay. Like I said, a client came into our program recently. Clients come with different, that's what I love about our community. It's eclectic. It's a different mix of women with different dating histories and relationship histories. So there's that ability to be able to learn from like-minded group of women, and for me to be able to provide coaching in different contexts so our clients can understand how dating is supposed to be transitory, how they're supposed to experience it differently. And one of the ways, this showed itself is in the process of, going through heartbreak. We literally just had a client, she went through a breakup. Now she's already ready to meet men. We just put her through our process. That's all. Provided her with her template. We have a template that deals specifically with heartbreak. Provided her with our template so that she can assess, acknowledge, and move forward. So yeah, another thing is, life is risky. Like if you step out of your house, who's to guarantee that something won't happen? No one knows. So dating is risky, just like anything else in life is risky. If you apply for that job, is there a guarantee you're going to get it? If you move to a different location, is there a guarantee it's going to be better than your last location? There's no guarantee. That's just life. So why are we expecting dating to be predictable? It's not a predictable process, but it should be simple. Okay. The reason you're finding it difficult is because you're complicating it. You're overcomplicating a very simple process. You just meet men, make a decision on who you want to connect with, commit, and then enter marriage. That is literally it. That's all. You come into contact, have conversations, decide on who you want to commit to, then that's all. That's it. But somehow this whole very simple process has been complicated. Like, oh no, I'm not ready. Why aren't you ready? Why? What's wrong? Something wrong with you? Like, you mean you can't have simple conversations? So now that you're in the middle of heartbreak, are you telling me you're not talking to anybody at all? You don't have any friends you talk to. You don't have anybody that you come in contact with in your office that you have to communicate with. So why should it be different just because it's somebody of the opposite sex that you could potentially have an intimate relationship with in a couple of months, years, or whatever? It's just simple. You just make yourself available for communication, make yourself available for contact. And that's what we show you how to do with wife in waiting, okay? The common denominator in your dating experience is you. Okay, stop making excuses. It's not because one guy dragged you along. You were a participant in that process, so take back your power. A lot of women have given up their power in dating. Take back your power. You do not need permission. Take back your power to decide on the kind of partner you want to have. Stop making excuses, stop avoiding, and stop delaying. Take back your power and take back your agency to make a decision. Okay? Awesome. So guys, that's what I'm going to cover today. Like I said, you can't date in the middle of a heartbreak. A heartbreak does not mean you are paralyzed. Doesn't mean you're stuck. It's just a process of you to learn from that experience and move forward with it. It's a process for you to use it. It's there for you to learn and for you to inform your next decision. That's all it's there for. It's not there for you to wallow, to cry, to get stuck, for you to become confused. It's not there for you to make excuses, because that's what a lot of you are doing with heartbreak. You're making excuses, you're delaying, you're avoiding. That's not the purpose of it. It's there to serve a purpose, and the purpose is to inform your next decision when it comes to dating. Okay? So I'm seeing a question here about being a sexually confident woman. Just means that you are confident in your femininity, you are confident in your sexuality, you are fully aware that you're an attractive woman, you are a woman that is desirable, you are a woman that has a lot to offer, and you are exuding that confidence in the way you interact with your environment, and not just men. It translates beyond gender. Okay? So when I say you're a sexually confident woman, I mean that you're a woman that is aware of her sensuality, her sexuality, and is aware of the fact that she's valuable, that she's desirable. And she's using that in her dating process. She's also using that, in other aspects of her life. Okay? Awesome. Okay, guys. So if you want to start dating men you can marry and you want my help on this, just apply for wife in waiting. And, I'll get back to you within 24 hours. Or if you want to have a conversation with me, send me a DM saying wife. And my very eager bot, very eager, will send you details to get you started on that journey. Make sure you share this with a friend. Thank you all so much. I'll see you again soon.